suppose the big thing we try to understand is, can we learn before we sort of go, get into bed and get married and do things, and before things potentially end up in tears? Multiple births, all sorts of things. but you know, I suppose that's the real question for us. Can we learn from people who've partnered? Things that we can maybe just avoid or get right up front, that maybe from your own experience, either you've had a disaster, real success, or things you've worked through. Because I think that's one of the things in this partnership between LEAP and Edunova and where we're trying to get to, is to try and avoid some of the mistakes that have been made. And if that's come and see our program we're doing with another partner or 3 partners and talk to us at that level, that's okay. But there must be powerful lessons that you've learned in your partnerships, either as school leaders or as project leaders within the school. So that as we embark on this, we can maybe mitigate some of those risks. So I'd like just to wrap up the session just about seeing from the floor if there are a few things, and obviously we can then follow up and document those. And so I will just at a high level, and then each of the team, because there is a Jane Furse team who you met yesterday, and Raphael and Alan are here, and Thole from the before it's also here, and all have had an integral part in developing this project. So each of our voices will be heard for a couple of minutes, all right? And that's how we'll structure this. But the bigger picture, and I think John and I haven't had much time to compare this. So John, if you want to, from a lead perspective, put in anything, then John will jump in. But a learning center is not exactly a new concept. There are learning centers abroad, in the US, everywhere, and in fact in South Africa. Thole from Meet Foundation, there are hundreds of them. If you speak to the head of e-learning, he's come and said to us, we've got 146 learning centers, they call them, can you help us make them work? Because they're sitting there with computers, but kind of not really being used. So that's the focus here, is making an impact. So a learning center serves, this little diagram, just to transfer, it's a space, a resource space, quite technology-rich environment, that serves the school itself. So in this case, in Jane Furse, a technology environment that will be planted in the middle of the school, co-created there, that will serve the LEAP community needs, the children, the learners, the teachers, as a resource center. However, the other arrows are attempting to show it has an outward focus as well. The community outreach, there are schools in that environment who can also benefit. And it would be wrong of me not to say that in fact, the funding component is a big thing, and we cannot ignore it. So as John and I sat reasonably uncomfortably in our seats when a funder said, LEAP has like a beautiful, what is the word? Sort of, yeah, really sort of this lighthouse, this beacon in a dark world, doing some great things. Can this learning center, together with LEAP, become more of a lighthouse that shines a beam around the whole town? Let's call it Jane Furse, to share the magic of LEAP, what's working well in LEAP. And I think we're all wise enough to know that you don't put a learning center in and next year all the 20 schools in an area will change. So that's not happening. So some of it is even management of expectations. But just want to, in 3 diagrams, show at a high level what it is. So a learning center has various activities running out of it. A community-based center with all these things going on. It's aligned with the province it's in from an education perspective. It's showing good models, it's doing training, and so on. So the model has a number of components. We don't have time to go into the particular detail. There's a focus on leadership, there's a focus on teacher training development, there's a focus on learners coming to utilize it for literacy, for numeracy, for accessing resources, for learner supports, and so on. So that's a standalone hub in the middle of a community. This diagram is attempting to show these are some of the strands of things that happen out of a learning center, and it sits within the context of schools in a community. Now, in LEAP's perspective, they have a relationship with schools in the area, some of which they will draw children from, learners to come into LEAP. Others are ongoing social relationships with those schools and so on. And Edunova has traditionally worked in those schools as well. But really, school partnerships, this slide is trying to just say at the top, partnerships with schools are at the heart of what's going on here. This is not a center looking for a purpose. It's there to support and to be owned by those partnerships, by those schools. So what that really means is there's a direct investment of time with the school leaders, with the teachers, expectations set around that, and that's why it's there. It's not looking for a purpose. So I just wanted to provide that sort of high-level overview. And at Jane Furse, there with our intent is to establish a learning center which has begun already with the team. Because it's new, because it's fresh, there is a need in that area, so we don't have to deal with the baggage of a school that's been running for 10 or 20 years and all the existing relationships. So it's a little bit easier. And that's why I said I wanted to try and avoid some of the mistakes that might happen through learning from partnership. So I'm just going to ask Raphael, where are you? Maybe just from your perspective as a leader, I think each person just needs to share what their experience has been so far on this journey.
Okay, thanks, John. Coming from LIB 5 and LIB 5 being a community school, we have about 220 students who come in every Saturday for a 3-hour study session. And this is the other big piece of the work that we are doing in Jane Furse. So, in realizing that we have Edunova who has provided us with ITEs, with 2 ITEs who will be finishing their 18-month program with the school in August. And then knowing that there is an opportunity for Edunova to provide this vehicle that we can use to keep on helping the community and make this place accessible to every member in the community. Be it the adults, there are people who are actually coming to the school and they say they want to have computer skills. And we have students who are coming for Saturday who have never had a chance to use a computer, but this will provide that opportunity for them as well. And then we also have the schools around. We get our LIB students from 8 schools around Jane Furse, and these are very close schools to the old hospital where we are located. And we feel that with Edunova's Learning Center, then we'll be able to reach out to more schools, and this will also help the teachers who can come into the center and have workshops and learn how to use technology in classes. And we can also have leadership workshops with the principals and sharing how best we can lead the schools. And this is going to be a very beneficiary project to everyone around the Jane Furse community. And we are lucky and very grateful if we can get the support of bringing all the resources that may be needed to have this learning center active.